Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Midland Cultural Center, and welcome to A Day in the Life. Now, here is the host of A Day in the Life, Fred Hacker.
Well, good evening, and welcome to A Day in the Life. Welcome to those of you who are with us here in Rotary Hall of the Midland Cultural Center, and welcome to those of you who are joining us on Rogers Community Television. We welcome all of you, and I know that we're in for a great evening tonight. I am so impressed by the young lady that I'm about to introduce. She is the youngest guest we've ever had on this program. I believe she is destined for stardom, and I think you'll agree with me when you meet her. Please welcome Jasmine Jenkinson. Hey, Jasmine.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
I know you have a busy life and university and exams, and you still have one more exam to write.
Yeah, next week I have a drama exam.
So you're a good sport to do this. So through you, I'm going to explain to our audience sort of how the program works, and you and I are just going to forget about them and have a chat.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is talk about your life from a point of view of the people, the events, the circumstances that have inspired you to this point in your life. And I know that through the successes you've had, we'll be inspiring the people in the audience, both those here in the room with us and those who are joining us on television.
Sounds good.
So let's start right at the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Midland, Ontario.
Midland, Ontario. Fine place to be born.
Yeah, wonderful place.
You chose well.
I did.
And tell us about your parents.
Well, my mom is a guidance counselor at Elmville District High School, and my dad is a history teacher here in Midland at GBDSS.
And what role did your mom play? We'll start with her in terms of your budding young career.
She's my biggest supporter. She drove me to endless dance practices, singing recitals, music performances, auditions, rehearsals, shows. She sat through so many shows. Yeah, she's just my biggest supporter.
Good for her. Is she artistic herself? Is she a performer?
She did competitive dance growing up, so I get that from her, but that's about it.
Okay. And your father, shall I ask whether... No, I won't ask if he has any skills.
He tells great jokes.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, okay. And what role has he played in your young career?
My dad has definitely influenced me in terms of like his silliness side. He's always doing crazy voices. He's making videos, doing skits. So I definitely get that creative aspect from him. Yeah, and my last name, so.
Now, you went to the school where he teaches.
Yes, I did.
Were you ever in one of his classes?
I was. Grade 12 history, I had him as my teacher.
And how did that go?
It was interesting. It was fun. I got picked on, but all of his students get picked on, so it was okay. It was a mutual experience.
I have been told by my daughters who he taught that he picks on everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of his thing.
Yeah. Now, I think, I know, I saw when I was addressing the audience that your grandmother is here.
Yeah.
She's a big fan, too.
She is.
Yeah.
Number one fan.
Number one fan. So your family, at least on the Jenkinson and the Lumsden side, has been in this community for a long time.
Yeah, they have.
I'm wondering what personality traits you think you got from your parents.
My mom, I definitely get all of my academic traits. Organization, time management, my love for color coordinating, focus, that's all very much from my mom. My dad, you know, he gives me, he has shared his love of the outdoors with me, and he's very adventurous. So, I like cliff jumping. That's very much from my dad. Boating, fishing, camping. That's all very much from my dad.
So there's the family.
There they are.
And I can figure out which one you are. I can figure out which one your mom is. I can figure out which one your dad is. So let's talk about the fourth person there. Who's that?
That's my sister Maya.
Mm-hmm.
She's my best friend.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's your sister.
I know. Well, she gave me $20 backstage to say that on here. But, I love her anyways.
Do you ever fight?
Yes, but we make up in the end. We fight about silly things, and then 1 minute later, we're hanging out and laughing again.
She's talented too, isn't she?
Very talented.
Tell us about that.
My sister and I love to dance together. That's something that we've done our whole lives together, and we love being on stage. We've done duets together. Yeah.
How about that?
Matching pants.
Yeah. Great. Perfect.
But she's also very unique in her own way. She's very athletic. She's a wicked sense of humor. She's amazing. Yeah. And she's musical. She plays the saxophone.
Good for her.
Yeah. She's in senior band. And she plays the saxophone.
Does she play it well?
She does. Excellent.
No kidding.
Yeah.
She's only in grade 9.
I know. She learns quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my granddaughter plays tuba in the same band.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's quite a band.
We have to go watch one of their performances.
Yeah. Let's talk about your education.
Sure.
Where did you go to primary school?
Bayview Public School is where I started.
That's where you started?
Yeah.
They didn't keep you?
They didn't. No, I left. I switched to Mundy's Bay for extended French in grade 5.
So you had 2 schools once you got into the extended French.
Yeah.
What were your interests while you were in primary school?
I sang a lot. I was in a choir when I was younger, and then it transitioned to private vocal lessons. I was doing dance always growing up. And in primary, there's not a lot to join within the school, but once I got to Mundy's Bay, I did a lot more.
Did you ever take piano lessons?
I did. Yes, I took piano lessons. It didn't stick. I took it for a couple years.
Okay.
I learned the basics, and then I quit.
And what kind of achievements did you have when you were in primary school?
Primary school. I was valedictorian when I graduated grade 8, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Most of my awards when I was younger was from outside of school, so like dance competitions or music festivals.
Well, we'll catch up with that in a minute. There was also a student parliament while you were going to primary school, wasn't there?
Yes, at Mundy's Bay. I was on student parliament.
And what's that all about?
Just about learning to be a leader. Honestly, we're so young, so there's not much we can do, but we ran events and helped with younger classes and ran assemblies, so it was a good beginner level.
Good, good. Now, I'm always interested in what teachers have an impact on people's development and what that impact is. So can you think back to some of the teachers you had in primary school? We'll start in primary school. Mm-hmm. and think of some that may have given you some direction or inspired you, made you enthusiastic, and what did each of them do for you?
Yeah, well at Bayview, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Dudley, was excellent. She taught me how to read, so kind of set me up for success. And then my grade 4 teacher, Mrs. Schwartz, was really great too, and I learned a lot from her. And then at Mundy's Bay, in grade 6 I had Madame Robertson, and she was excellent. And then Madame Ely, who never taught me, but I helped out with her class a lot, and she was very involved within the school community, so all 4 of them have taught me a lot.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk briefly about outside, because I am going to come back and focus, if I may, on some of the various performances that you've done down through the years. But during the time that you were in primary school, what people would have been influences on the outside?
Outside, my dance teachers for sure, Stephanie Gendreau and Sarah Walker, have been inspirations to me my whole life, but when I was younger I was dancing with them and they taught me a lot about confidence and learning to be comfortable on stage, comfortable with my body dancing. And then my first singing teacher was Connie Tawes, and she taught me everything that I knew about music at the time and kind of set me up for continuing it.
Now, you did some song and dance when you were fairly young.
I did.
Remember this picture?
Yes, I do. That was when I was 12. I did Tomorrow from Annie, and I was singing and tapping on stage. I thought I was so cool. I won the Shirley Temple Award at a competition. It was a very big deal. Yeah.
That is a big deal.
It was a very big
Yeah.
deal.
Well, that's a great picture. You're really into it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about secondary school then. Where did you go to secondary school?
Georgian Bay District Secondary School.
Okay. Now, the new building was built while you were going to high school, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was in the old building for grade 9 and half of grade 10, and then we switched to the new building.
Okay. How is the new building?
It's gorgeous. Oh, it's amazing. I'm so glad that I got to go to school in that building.
Looking at it from the outside, it looks like there were 5 architects and they didn't speak to one another.
I know, with the blue and the green like glass on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, looks aren't everything.
Yeah, right.
The interior's great.
Good. What were your interests while you were at secondary school?
Oh, everything. Student council, link crew. I was in band. Band was a huge part of high school. I did a few school musicals. I was on science club for a couple years, so that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Flag football. I played flag football.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Any injuries?
Yes. I broke my finger. It got stuck in a girl's pocket. Yeah, my parents were really impressed with that. Yeah, and that was the end of my football career. But short-lived. It was fun.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
Now, we will talk about your achievements at your graduation if we have time, because you had a lot of them. But pre your graduating year, can you tell us about some of the achievements along the way?
Sure. Well, each year there's academic awards nights, so I got a few high marks in a couple of my classes, like top mark in music or something. In grade 11, I got top mark for my grade.
For all the grade 11s?
Yeah, so that was the T.J. Johnson Memorial Shield.
Wow.
Yeah, and then outside of school again, dance competitions and music festivals.
Well done. Now, I asked you about influential teachers in primary school. How about secondary school?
Yeah, Amanda Clark, for sure, was a huge inspiration. She ran the music program and concert band, which like some weeks honestly got me through the week was just going to concert band. So she's an excellent mentor and someone that I still look up to. Mr. Rodnick, Matthew Rodnick, was another music teacher who was amazing. Nancy Power taught science a couple times to me, and also Rob Miron, who taught me math. Very patient man.
Math wasn't a highlight?
It was a highlight because he taught it well,
Good
but
answer.
I have a lot of respect for him because he taught advanced functions online and still made it understandable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a master.
Yeah, he's a master.
Now, any other inspirations? You would have had a dance teacher?
Yes, still Stephanie Gendreau and Sarah Walker. They continued to influence me throughout my whole life. I had a new singing teacher, Edwina Douglas. She lives in Barrie. She was excellent. And then David Connolly from Drayton Entertainment.
Okay. We'll come back and touch on that in a minute. Where's this?
That is at the last dance competition I did. I'm 16 and I'm doing my song and dance solo.
And where was that?
In Nottawasaga.
Okay. And how'd you do?
I won.
Oh. Well done. Now, we have another picture for you here. Can you tell us what you're doing here?
I'm singing. This wasn't even a performance. This was taken at school. A girl I know was doing it for her photography class and needed someone, and I was like, please take pictures of me. So that's how I ended up with that.
It's a great picture.
Thank you.
I hope you used it in some of your applications.
Yeah, I think I sent it in to something. An audition, maybe.
Yeah, looks great. Now, you mentioned David Connolly. And who is he, where is he, and what role has he played in your development?
David Connolly works with Drayton Entertainment. He does a variety of roles. He's an artistic director, but for me personally, he ran the youth programs, and he directed the shows that I've done with Drayton Entertainment. He's amazing. Everything he's taught me has gotten me to where I am. All of my acting training prior to school was from him, and he's really great at working with kids.
Tell us about this.
That was Legally Blonde. That was in summer 2019. That was the last show I did with David as a director. And that experience changed my life. It showed me that I needed to be an actor.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's neat. So that is an inspiration.
Oh, he's a huge inspiration.
Now let's talk about your graduation. You won some very impressive recognitions. Can you tell us about some of them?
Sure. I got the Governor General's Bronze Academic Medal. So that was for the highest average upon graduation. The T.J. Johnson Memorial Shield was for the highest average in grade 12. The Principal's Award for Leadership. The Bill Barnett Award.
Let's stop for a minute. What's
Yes.
the Principal's Award for Leadership? What?
That's just for being a good leader within the school. It's chosen by the principal, and it's given to 3 students.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned another.
Yes, the Bill Barnett Award. That's for a student who is understanding, caring, demonstrates compassion for others, and then also volunteers within their school.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
How about in your performing? Did you win an award for your music or your dancing or your...
Yeah, at dance competitions, it depends. Dance competitions are weird. It depends on the competition and how they score and how they rank it. But overall marks for solos I've received, and then in singing competitions, just highest marks within my entry.
Okay. Now, one of my friends told me that you also won the school's 100th anniversary.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I did.
Yeah.
The MSS 100th Anniversary Award.
That's exciting. So, you graduated last spring,
Yeah.
virtually.
Yes.
What was that like?
You know what? I was kind of negative about it going into it because I really wanted to have an in-person graduation, but it was still so special. My family all came over. We watched the graduation in our living room. We got to wear whatever we wanted because we weren't in public. It was really special.
So, this past summer would have been the summer after your graduation.
Yes.
What did you do for the summer?
I worked with Parks Canada at Big Shoe Marine Railway. I was a summer student employee. I did so many jobs. I weed whacked. I learned how to weed whack. I mowed a lawn. I scraped a shed. I worked with boats. It was a very educational experience.
You would hear some fascinating comments by people going over the big chute in your boat for the first time.
I did, yes. And also people from all over. Some people were from Hawaii. Some people had boated from Europe. I was like, how did you come across the ocean? They showed up.
I know when we would go over it, the comments of people there for the first time, like, are we going to fall?
Yeah.
You know, they're looking down from the top particularly, you just think,
Yeah.
make it.
It's a very cool structure.
Did you ever operate the cart?
They taught me a little bit. I wasn't technically allowed to because I wasn't employed as an operator, but I did get to be on the cart quite a bit, and they taught me how it worked.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, I have a picture here. I recognize 2 people, but who's the young man in the front?
That is my father. That picture was taken balancing on a rock covered in algae on a waterfall, trying not to fall down.
Oh, that's cute.
My mom wasn't there, so that's
Where
why.
is it?
That's in Go Home Bay.
And Mom's taking the picture.
No,
Oh.
Mom didn't know. Mom didn't know.
Oh, she didn't know.
She knows now.
Yeah.
But
And you did a little performance in your backyard, I think. Tell me about this picture. What's this all about?
oh, that was at Little Lake Park.
Oh, was it?
That was at the end of the summer. My dance studio organized a photo shoot for all the dancers. So yeah, that was taken by Kevin Cascanet.
You look great.
Thank you.
That's a very professional pose.
Thanks.
Well done. That's your last dance before university.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Now, university.
Yes.
Where are you going to university?
I go to University of Toronto, Mississauga.
Okay. And do you have a sweatshirt or a t-shirt?
I have a t-shirt. I also have a sweatshirt that my aunt gave me, so I have both.
Okay. Now, you won a spectacular national scholarship. Can you tell us the name of it first of all?
Yeah. It's called the U of T National Scholarship.
How about that? Very inventive, weren't they?
Very creative. Yeah.
And I understand that that is the most prestigious award given to a graduating student entering U of T.
Yes.
I'll say that so that you don't have to.
Thank you.
And what does it celebrate? What's the award recognize?
On their website, it says it's for creative and original thinkers, students who are committed to their school and community, high achievers, both with academics and creative endeavors, and committed to, enthusiastic about learning.
Well, you will.
Here I am.
How many applicants were there for the scholarship?
There were 1,000.
1,000 applicants.
Yeah.
And how many scholarships were given?
13.
Across Canada.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the process is interesting. What did you have to do to apply?
There were multiple rounds. So round 1 was just the written application. I had to write a couple of creative essays. I had to write a letter of reference for myself. I had a letter of reference written for me, and then I sent that in. And then round 2, they saw it, they got back to me, and they needed an original work. So
What kind of an original work?
it could be anything you wanted, depending on the student. I sent in a recording of myself singing a song I had written about social media, so I sent that in. And then I made the interview round.
And what's involved in the interview round?
The interview round was 4 days. There was like group activities, it was all on Zoom. So there were group activities, and then I had a faculty interview with someone who is now my mentor actually at UTM,
Wow.
and a committee interview.
And how long would that interview process take?
The interviews were about an hour each.
Okay.
They were very intimidating.
Over what period of time?
I had a faculty interview on Tuesday and a committee interview on the Wednesday.
Okay, wow. Very impressive. Was it frightening?
Very. It was very frightening. But the kids, all the other applicants that I had met were really nice.
Okay.
So we were all in it together.
That's good. So, on March the 31st at 3 p.m., I understand,
Yes.
was the time. What happened then?
I was sitting at my kitchen table doing my online schoolwork, and then I got a little notification, and I knew they would email because they said they would get back to us before the end of the month, and it was March 31st. So I clicked on the email, and then it said that I had won the national scholarship, and I was like in shock.
Wow.
And I was so excited, and I had no one to tell because I was home alone. I know. So I called my mom.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So what were your reactions? What kinds of things went through your mind?
At first I thought it was fake because I read the email and I thought like maybe there had been a mistake or like I had won something but it wasn't the national scholarship. So I reread the email about 5 times and then I knew it was real. So then I called my mom and I think even still, you're in shock, just like disbelief that this could even happen. Yeah, and then we were really excited. And my dad came home, heard the news, very exciting.
I'm sure everybody would be excited. And there's a little celebration.
Yeah, my cousins brought over balloons.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, so you're at U of T. One of the things you have to decide on when you go to university is what program you're going to enroll in. So how did you decide what to study?
It wasn't even a choice. I just had to. I had to study acting. So I applied to a bunch of schools, but U of T was definitely a top choice, even before the scholarship, just because it's joint with Sheridan College. So you have the academic rigor of a university degree, but the practical training from Sheridan.
So do you spend part of your day or part of your week at the University of Toronto's Mississauga campus and part of your day or week at Sheridan?
I do, yeah.
How does that work?
It's so fun. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm at UTM. And then Tuesdays, I get on a bus and I go to Sheridan for the day with my classmates. And we have acting in the morning and voice and movement in the afternoon. And then we get bused back. And then Thursdays, I'm at UTM, but I'm doing Sheridan crew classes.
Okay, okay. Now, how many of you are in this program?
There's 24 of us.
And is it competitive? Is there competition between, I sort of have this image of people in actors or musicians sort of competing for roles and places. Do you compete with your fellow students?
Honestly, I thought it would be like that. It is so uncompetitive. Everyone is so supportive. We all want each other to succeed. And actually, my acting teacher last week, he was talking to our class and he said, everyone that you have not met yet is your competition, but everyone that you have met is an ally and a friend. So we're all working together.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what courses you take, what individual courses you take?
Yeah. So with UTM, this year I'm trying to fulfill some science and social science requirements just because I'm in first year. So I'm taking psychology, I took a writing course, education studies, and then I have a mandatory theater history course. And then next semester I'll still have psychology, political science, humans and nature, and then modern contemporary theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are the UTM courses.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the Sheridan courses? Are they?
They're separate.
Yeah.
So this semester I had acting and then the actor's instrument, which is like voice and movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I had carpentry. It was very exciting.
Really?
Yes, every Thursday I had carpentry. In first year you learn about crew and how the backstage world works. And then next semester I'll have acting again, probably camera acting, voice, movement, and then my crew will be wardrobe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very full schedule.
It's very full. It's very busy, but it's so fun.
How big is UTM? How many students?
16,000.
16. And how many at the University of Toronto?
In total? I'm not sure. More than 16,000.
I think it's closer to 100. More than that? Okay. Somebody look it up and see if he's right. You commented to me when we were talking about doing this program together that being at university is like a dream.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
It is a dream because all I've wanted for so long is to get to go to acting school and to get to be in acting classes with like friends in my classes who also want to be actors. And it's all I've been wishing for so long that now that it's happening, even though it's been a full semester, I still, at least once a week, I have a moment, I'll text my parents and I'll be like, guys, I'm at theater school, just reminding you that I'm here. It's crazy.
Good for you. That's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about your performance, the performance side of your life. We talked about the schooling,
Sure.
and let's double back and talk about some of the other things you've done. So you started, did you do song and dance right from the beginning, really, both together?
Almost. It was my first solo that I had done, was song and dance, and I just kind of stuck with it all the way through.
Now, I have a picture here, and maybe you can tell us.
Yeah, that was my first song and dance solo. So I'm 10 years old in that. Yeah, it was very special.
And are you saying you're number one?
No, that was my signature pose in the piece. It was called I Speak 6 Languages.
Oh, that's the song.
That's the title of the song.
Okay.
So I was very nerdy, very on brand, and that was the pose I did. So naturally, I am posing backstage for the camera.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
No, that's me.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Hi, Willow.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
So, grade 6 and 7,
Yes.
you started working with Drayton.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, what roles you had.
So I did their pantomime. So grade 6 it was Snow White the panto, and grade 7 it was Aladdin the panto. And both times I was in the children's chorus.
Right.
It was so fun. It was my first time doing an actual musical, and it was directed by David Connolly, who,
Okay.
like I said, is great with kids. Yeah.
And what would your takeaway from that experience have been?
That experience, A, taught me that there were other kids that existed outside of school and dance that came from other places, but also just how shows work and how magical it is to be in a show.
And then you also did some Christmas musicals. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was with Heronia Players, directed by Sue Cook, and Connie Tawes was the musical director. Those were so fun. I got to come and be with the adults backstage. I got to wear Christmas sweaters. I remember like curling my hair for the performances. It was a very big deal.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what roles would you have played there?
Just the generic kid characters. I think my character was named Zuzu both times because we just kind of did a sequel the second year of the first show.
Right.
And that was my first time having to learn lines on stage.
When you got to your early teens, you were involved in some fundraising programs. Where were they, and what was that for? I think this was for the Georgian Bay Musical Theatre.
Oh, yes. Yeah, GBMTC did Halloween fundraisers.
Oh.
So I would perform, my dance studio was a part of it, so I performed with them. And then my high school was also a part of it, so I like kind of performed double.
Okay. And where was that presented?
That was at the rec center upstairs. They turned it, they had this stage and they like had fancy tables and they turned it into a fancy venue.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, I'm going to show you a picture here. And
Oh! Yep, there I am.
what age would you be there, Jasmine?
I think I'm 13 in grade 8.
Okay. And
That's the next year, Ghostbusters.
oh, is that what that
That's
is?
Ghostbusters, yeah, with the band.
Wow.
That I'm 14 and very enthusiastic.
Well, it looks great. Now, you also, as you got into secondary school, you were doing, obviously you told us about some of the things you were doing in school, but outside school you were doing some song and dance, and tell us about this.
That was with Heronia Players. They did 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee when I was 15. And so I auditioned, and then I found out that they only wanted adults in the show, but then they were like, oh, actually, maybe we'll have a kid. So I was the lucky kid who got to be in it. And that was such a fun show. Everyone on the team, like the cast and the crew, were so amazing to work with. And they treated me like I wasn't a child, so it was a very unique experience.
That's good. Now, are those judges behind you at the spelling bee?
Yeah, within the show, yeah.
Yes, yes. And they don't look very happy.
No, they don't. No, I don't think they were a fan of me lying on the table. And actually, right after this picture, I like kicked my leg up in the air and almost hit one of them in the face. So they definitely weren't happy after that.
In real life, they may not have been happy.
Yeah, it was very natural acting.
Now, is this when you sang a song that you'd already sung somewhere else?
Yeah, so I Speak 6 Languages is from the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And the character that I played happened to be the one who sings that song, so I got to reprise my role.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I wonder how often that happens.
I don't think very often, but it happened to me.
That's cute. Now, grade 11, you left this area and you did a performance at St. Jacob's
Yes.
Playhouse. I think, do you have a picture of that? Is that?
That's me.
Okay.
That was in St. Jacob's when I did Legally Blonde.
Right.
And that was the Drayton Entertainment pre-professional program. So I went away for 2 weeks with some friends who were also in the program. We all stayed together. And I stayed down there and did Legally Blonde, and it was incredible. Also, David Connolly.
So it's a Drayton Theatre. It's
Yes.
part of the circuit that
Yeah.
King's Wharf is also part of.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, in high school, you played a part.
Yeah, that's me as Sebastian in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I had to learn a Trinidadian accent. It was interesting.
Can you still do it?
I cannot.
Okay.
I couldn't even do it then, honestly. Everyone tried. They were very supportive. They were like, oh, Jasmine, like, that's a great accent. But I knew. I'm not Trinidadian. I tried my best.
Yeah. Well, that's a great costume.
Yeah, very red. I still have, that hat is in my closet.
Yeah?
I saw it today, yeah.
It's cute. Now, you also did some music training at the Meridian Art Center in Toronto.
Yes.
What was that all about?
That was One Song Glory. So it was with the musical stage company. It was in Toronto. My voice teacher, Edwina, she told me about it. I was like, okay, I guess we'll audition. So my mom drove me down, as per usual, and I auditioned for the program, and then I got in. And so for 5 Saturdays in a row, I got to go downtown to Toronto and study musical theater there, and then we did a performance at the end.
Wow. Yeah, I think we have a picture.
Yes, there I am.
Yeah. Now, tell us about some of the volunteer kinds of work that you've done down through the years.
I started volunteering within my dance studio, just helping at dance camps, which later turned into a job for me, so that worked out. But also volunteering within the school. As a part of student council, we've done like clothing drives and food drives, volunteering at various like Terry Fox events, Remembrance Day ceremonies. So most of my volunteering has been through high school.
You were involved in something that was international in scope, called Your Voice is Power. And I want to spend some time on that because this is really quite fascinating. First of all, for the benefit of our audience, both here in the hall and at home, what is Your Voice is Power?
Your Voice is Power is a competition run by Amazon, Georgia Tech University, and Pharrell Williams through a program called Ear Sketch. And basically, you go through these modules and you learn about social injustice, racial inequality, entrepreneurship, sound engineering, and you learn how to code a song, and then you submit it.
And what do you mean, code a song?
Yeah. So it's like you have a computer,
Yeah.
and there's like different buttons on the side, and different numbers mean different sounds. So you just kind of figure out which numbers you like the sound of best,
Okay.
and then input it in.
Okay. For the benefit of those who don't know, who's Pharrell Williams?
Pharrell Williams is a very famous singer. He's American. Lots of people know him from Happy. It was a very hit song, Despicable Me, if you've seen that. But yeah.
Okay. And why are Amazon, Georgia Tech, and Pharrell Williams doing this? What's their objective?
They want to promote racial equality and also show that you don't need to have a ton of benefits in order to make music. So it's very much about making it accessible. Anyone with internet access and a computer can learn how to code. Ear Sketch, the program, is free. So it's just about leveling the playing field.
And how did you come to enter it?
I was in an online course with Elmvale District High School. It was World Cultures, and my teacher, Jacqueline Calder, who was amazing, included it as part of our school project. So I did it because I needed to for my grade.
So did everybody in this class apply?
They had an option. You could either code a song or write a 1,000-word essay. I was like, why would I write an essay when I could make a song?
Yeah.
So there were 2 options, but it was a school project.
And so everybody in your class did either the essay or the song?
Yes.
And then did they all submit them to?
I'm not sure. It wasn't mandatory that we submitted it, but the school project and the competition requirements were the exact same. So after I had finished, I was like, I've done all this work, I might as well just submit
I
it.
was going to ask you why you entered, but that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. Describe your entry for us.
So my song was inspired by the social injustices against George Floyd and the Black community as a whole, and inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. So that's kind of how my song came to be. Yeah.
Okay. And what are the components of what you submitted then?
So it started, the first thing I coded was the bridge. So I went online and I looked up protests from Black Lives Matter rallies, and I took the sound clips, also news reports, and inputted them into the song. And then I composed an orchestra instrumental section and put it underneath. And then once I had that, I went back and did the verse and chorus and the ending. So I took Pharrell Williams' lyrics from his song Entrepreneur. It's a rap song. I took them and I wrote a melody, and then I recorded myself singing the melody and put it into the song, and then I added music.
Wow.
And there it was.
Now, did everybody have to use the words from entrepreneur?
No.
So this was just your initiative?
Yeah, well, it was, you had to do a remix of Frill's song, so you could use any aspect of it that you wanted. I only kept the lyrics and changed everything else.
Okay. And what was your inspiration for the finished product?
The Black Lives Matter rallies, and the competition was called Your Voice is Power, and through it I learned that they are right, and I was like, okay, I can do this, I can use my own voice to make power, so I tried my best, and yeah.
What were your expectations?
Not very high. I'm like the least technologically advanced teenager you will ever meet.
Really?
Yeah, not my thing. But I tried my best, and I learned how to code. It was easy for me because it was so focused on music, which I did have a lot of background in. So that's how it came to be. And I submitted to the competition solely for the purpose, it was pride. It was really pride. I had done so much work for this school project, and I was like, here you go. Yeah. So I sent it in, and I did not expect to win.
You said you did so much work. How much time would have been involved, beginning to end, in putting that together?
It was about 40 hours, I would say.
And how long is the submission, the piece that you sent them?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. 40 hours?
40 hours for 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way showbiz is, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of hours for getting one thing perfect. Yeah. How did you learn that you won?
I got an email. So I first found out that I was a finalist, which I was ecstatic about. I got an Amazon gift card. I was in disbelief about that. And then my teacher emailed me, and she was like, hey, Jasmine, the people from Amazon want to meet with you. They want to announce the winners over Zoom. And I was like, why would they announce the winners if I was not one of them? Why would I attend that? So I showed up on the Zoom call. Then there was like representatives from like Georgia Tech and Amazon and Earsketch. And I was like, hi, everyone. And then they were like, we have this video to show you. And they played the video, and it was of my song. And then it said that I was one of the winners.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was very cool.
That's so great. How many entrants would there have been? Do you have any idea?
There was about 1,500.
1,500. Wow. And how many winners?
5.
5 from around the world.
Yes.
Wow. And what did you receive for your successful submission?
I got $5,000 American.
Which is like about 25,000 Canadian.
Basically. I think it came to like 6,200.
Yeah. Now, we never mentioned, we talked about that great scholarship you got, and I just realized we didn't mention, is there any monetary side to the scholarship you won from the U of T?
A small one. 4 years of tuition, residence, and incidental fees paid for.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you.
Well, I think, let me just ask you one more question about this, Your Voice Has Power. What did you take away from the experience of participating in that?
That experience was honestly a real confidence booster for me because I've like written songs before, just for my own ears, not really shared it with everyone. So sending that in, I honestly, truly, I did not think anything of it. And so by winning that competition, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I can work with technology. So it was a real confidence booster, and it led me to do sound design in university on a show. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, I think it's time for us to hear your submission.
Okay.
Can we play it?
Go for it.
Okay. Glenn, can you cue that up for us?
I can picture
That is great.
Thanks.
I like it with the acoustics in here.
Yeah, it sounded very cool.
Did it?
Yeah, I've only heard it from like my little laptop, so.
Well, that was the first thing. I had heard it on my computer too, but boy, it really resonates in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now that led to another experience for you with something called e-talk.
Yep.
What's e-talk?
E-Talk is a television show that somehow I ended up on. I don't even know. Kristen Gable from Amazon, she's lead communications at Amazon Canada, emailed my mother and was like, oh hey, I'd like to set up some stuff for Jasmine. And we were like, okay. So she organized a ton of things for me, e-talk included.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, that's how you learned you were going to be on it, was through your mother talking to?
No, then I eventually was like, okay, Mom, I can handle this. I couldn't, she still had to help me. But then Kristen got my own contact, and so she had arranged a few things prior to that, and then she was like, great news, you're gonna be on e-talk.
And what was the process leading up to that? Did they videotape you or take
They
pictures?
did, it was really cool.
Okay.
I was sitting in my room doing psychology homework, and they called and were like, oh, we want to bring you down to the studio tomorrow to film some things for e-talk. And I was like, okay. So they taxied me downtown to this studio apartment, and they had this whole set up, and I got to like sit there and pretend to code, and they were filming, and I sang a bit, and they filmed, and then we went to a park, and they
I think
filmed
we have
me.
a picture of that, don't we?
Yes, that's the apartment.
Oh, so that's not your house?
No. This is like...
supposed to look like your house, is it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
The goal was to recreate what might have happened had someone recorded me when I was making the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we have another picture.
Yeah.
So that's actually you on television in the middle and the real you on the left.
Yeah. Just a casual Friday.
Great. What else did they do?
Then they took me to a park and we filmed some more. They wanted me like walking around, getting inspiration. So they did that. And then that finished, they taxied me back to UTM. And then the next week I had an e-talk interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I've seen it. We can't unfortunately play it, but you did very well on it, so congratulations. How much footage would they have shot in order to produce what I think was less than 2 minutes of television?
Oh, I was there for like 2 hours filming.
Really?
Yeah, and some of the clips we took didn't even get used, which is fine. It was a cool experience to be filmed, honestly. But yeah, it was a morning.
But that's a real education, isn't it? The amount of footage that gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And they had so many different lights. There's only one in the picture there, but there was like about 4 different lights, and they would move them all around depending on what shot they wanted.
Wow.
It was very cool.
We look at a 30 or 60 second commercial and we think, well, no, that couldn't have taken long, but it may have taken months.
Yeah, and it did, because I filmed it at the end of September, and
Really?
it came out in December.
Yeah, wow. What are your friends saying about you being on e-talk?
Most of them don't know. The ones that have found out have just like randomly Googled me and come across it, and then they'll send it to me and be like, excuse me, and I was like, yeah. But they're very supportive, and they probably think it's even cooler than I do. So yeah,
Sure.
they're really great.
Yeah, that's great. I want to just talk to you for a moment, because I think our audience, both here and at home, would be interested in reflections of a university student on university life. So, tell us what a typical day for you would be, a typical university day.
Sure. I'll tell you Tuesdays, because those are my favorite days of the week.
Okay.
So I wake up around 7, and then I get on the bus, and I get bused to Sheridan. I have acting class for 3 hours. I have a 1 hour break, and then I have movement and voice class for 3 hours.
Let me just slow you down a bit and we'll
Yes.
get back to the acting. What would happen in those 3 hours? What would you be doing?
It depends on the day. The second half of the semester, we were working on scene studies, so a lot of script work, going through the script, learning about what beats we need to put where, when to pause, and then we would start on blocking. So getting the scene on its feet, learning how to interact with your scene partner and how to move around the stage. All of that happens within those 3 hours once a week. And
Does everybody get a turn at
yes,
the blocking or the scripting or whatever?
Yeah, everyone is in their own individual scene, and we all work on it individually, and then at the end we do a showcase and we show everyone.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I slowed you down. So lunch, and then in the afternoon?
Movement and voice. It's called the actor's instrument. So it's just about, first year I've discovered is a lot about unlearning everything that we have been taught up to this point. So it's a lot about getting grounded, stretching, learning how to properly use your voice. All of that happens in the second 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then back on the bus?
And then I get bussed back. So I get back usually around 6. So I'm gone 9 to 6. And then once I get back, I have dinner, and then I do all of the schoolwork that I have not done all day because I've been at Sheridan. So it depends on the class. Usually I'm writing an essay and then doing psychology homework, maybe doing a reading for my drama class, and then go to bed.
Now, where do you eat?
Where do I eat? Across the road, there's a cafeteria. It's called Coleman Commons.
It's part of the university.
Yeah, it's part of the university.
And you're living in residence?
I am.
How many in your residence?
There are 3 of us that share an apartment, and we each have our own room. So
Cool.
it's very cool. It's amazing.
And what are they studying?
My one roommate actually is in theater with me.
Okay.
We're in the same program, so that's been really fun.
Yeah,
And my other roommate studies forensic science.
that's a bit different.
Very different, yeah. I feel bad for her because we're always complaining. We're like, oh, we have so much reading to do. We have so much acting to do. And she's like, I'm doing physics and chemistry. So I feel for her.
Yeah. What sorts of social activities do you get involved with on campus?
It depends. I recently worked on a play. I was doing sound and lighting design and also an assistant director because I wanted to try being behind the scenes. So that's what I've been working on for the past couple months.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you. Now, I think you have a great future ahead of you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
What do you foresee for your own future?
Oh,
After graduation, where do you go?
I want to stay in the city. I want to keep acting, keep trying to be a performer, potentially do more schooling because I'm loving it so much. So, parents, please let that happen. But yeah, stay in the city and keep performing.
Why do you have to ask your parents? You're paying for your own education.
That was a good point, Fred.
Yeah.
I am paying for my
It's
own.
about time they came up to
It's about time. Yeah.
Now, are there graduate studies in dramatic arts?
There are, yeah, at the St. George campus.
Okay.
You can do a master's.
Downtown.
Yeah.
A master's of what?
It depends. You can specialize. So my one TA is doing it on dramatic literature. My other is doing a master's on, I think it's like cinema studies, maybe. But really the dream is to keep acting. So.
Okay, so now you sing, you dance, you act, and you play the saxophone.
My sister does.
I know.
I'm not that skilled at the saxophone, unfortunately.
Which of those do you think you'll pursue, or will you pursue them all?
Everything, if I can. Acting is what I'm studying right now, but I'm still singing and dancing on my own time because I've spent so long doing them, I don't really want to give them up. So I think if I can be as well-rounded as possible and learn everything there is to know about everything, then I can just insert myself into any situation.
We had a guest on this program when we first went virtual, when we first had to start doing it on Zoom because the facility here was closed down. Cynthia Dale, who is an actress. She did Street Legal, and she's a starlet at Stratford. And she refers to your skills as the triple threat.
Yeah.
And she says that you have to have it all to make it. You have to be able to sing, you have to be able to dance, you have to be able to act in order to make it. So you've got it all, Jasmine.
Thank you.
You're on your way.
I'm trying.
So which of those would you pursue? Is the acting the top of the pile for you?
I think so, yeah. And the more that I've studied it, even though it's only been 3 months, the more I've fallen in love with it. So even within acting, I want to do movies, TV shows, commercials, plays, anything I can get my hands on, I'm happy with.
Good for you. Well, we are going to now have to say goodbye to our television audience, although we're going to invite the audience here in the studio to stay with us. I do want to extend some thanks. I want to thank the folks from Rogers TV who are here taping this. This program will be played back in January on Rogers, and it will be available on demand on the MCC website and also on Rogers' website. I want to thank the staff at the Midland Cultural Center, Dan, our executive director, and Michelle, who does our promotion and marketing, and Victoria, who's our facilities, or our operations coordinator. And I want to thank Glenn up in the booth, who is helping us out with sound and light. I want to thank our season sponsors, Kathy Bales, Michelle Bishaw, and Jeff Holloway. Special thanks to Chris and Mark Thompson. I hope that you'll take those thanks back. Jasmine, I really want to thank you. This has been fun. You are the youngest guest we've ever had. I think you're the most enthusiastic guest we've ever had. And it's just been great talking to you. And we're going to talk some more after we say goodbye to our television audience. We do want to remind those of you on the television audience that our next program will come up in January. My guest will be Chester Graham, who has been referred to as the greatest athlete ever produced by Midland. And so thanks to all of you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.